What's going on, guys? This is Zach Adkins, and in this video I want to show you my hand-painted Ace Frehley guitar. Got at the September 6th Rocktoberfest, where Ace Frehley headlined. I got to go backstage, meet him. I want to tell you the story and tell you about the guitar, and that's it. Let's get to it. Okay, so I mean, the guitar is what it is, right? Like it's this really cool hand-painted Les Paul, but it's an Epiphone. Not a huge fan of the guitar. The guitar kind of sucks. Does that matter? No. Why? Because I love Ace Frehley. It's so freaking cool. I don't care. I'll go buy a crappy little $99 guitar that he hand painted because he's freaking cool. That's why. Because he's freaking awesome and I love everything. Okay, as you know, maybe you don't know, you probably don't know who I am. But if you did know who I was, or now that you don't know who I am and you're figuring out who I am, you know that I'm a huge Kiss fan. You can see I got Kiss stuff all around me, stuff over there, stuff over here. My whole room is Kiss. My whole life is kind of Kiss, and that's cool too. But it's always been a dream of mine to meet Ace Frehley, and any member of Kiss, really. But this kind of came up out of nowhere where it was he had the meet and greets, and then he had this where you could get the guitar for, $3,500, and you get the meet and greet experience and all this stuff. It was cool. I really wanted it. My wife was like, let's do it. Boom, put it on the credit card. Let's go. Commit now, figure it out later. So we did that. We were like, okay, the closest he's coming to us is Minnesota. So they come up, and actually, I was really frustrated with the entire process, and I'll tell you why. Because when you got the meet and greet for $3,500, the Ace's team, when you get like a confirmation email and they're like, okay, someone's going to reach out to you soon and we'll confirm the date that you want to be there and this and that. You pick a show on his headlining thing and then we'll get it going. I'm like, okay, great. A month later, nobody says anything. A month later, nobody says anything. And I'm like, okay, I just spent $3,500 freaking dollars and I haven't even gotten a confirmation if like you got my money or not. And I was a little peeved about that, and I kept emailing, and then responding to what I had, and then emailing the website, and then I messaged on the Facebook page and the Instagram page. Never got a response from anybody, so I was getting really pissed, actually. And I finally commented on something that Ace Frehley posted, and I said, hey, I bought this guitar. I'm planning on being there at the Hinckley show, the Rocktoberfest. Can somebody please confirm that I'm good to go? And they go, yep, when you get here, go talk to Emmy at the merch booth. She'll get you taken care of. And I'm like, okay, that's still not confirming that you got the money and that I'm good to go, but it's at least something. So booked the show, booked the hotels, all that good stuff. Fast forward to September. We got the day before the show. My wife and I go up to, it was in Hinckley. We were kind of outside of Hinckley in a little town, and we stayed at a hotel. The hotel was crappy. It just is what it is. But I didn't care. Literally, I didn't care about anything. And we were listening to Ace Frehley like almost all the way there. A little bit of Billy Joel, but then mostly Ace Frehley. So we went up there listening to Ace Frehley. I was getting all pumped up. My brother and his girlfriend were coming up the next day because they had to work. Fast forward again. We get there. And the second those gates open up, I'm like there, ready to go. Because I want to hit the merch booth right away. I don't care about anything else. Ace isn't even playing until 9:30. And I don't care about any of the other bands playing. I just went right to the merch booth and I was like, hey, here's my receipt. Here's, the credit card we paid for. Here's the PayPal that we used, whatever it was. And she's like, oh, okay. So, okay, you guys did buy the guitar because the guitar was just sitting there. No paint on it yet. It was just black. It's just there. And I was like, do you have multiple guitars? She goes, no, we only brought the one with us. And I was like, okay, so you brought one guitar with you? And I was like, well, I bought it already back in January. And she goes, that's weird. Nobody told me that you bought it. And I was like, oh my God. Like, can you imagine if I got there an hour later and somebody bought it? I can't even go down that road because it'll piss me off so hard. But I was like, you guys, like, I hate to say it, but like, you guys got to get your shit together because like, I just spent all this money, never got a confirmation, never heard anything back. Like, Ace's team really dropped the ball here. I was a little upset about it. Whatever. She was cool about it. She took the guitar down and she's like, okay, just come back here when the show's over. We go and we watch a couple of the bands play. Not super interested in any of those bands that were playing at the Rocktoberfest. We leave and go get some lunch, and then we went and saw the Beetlejuice movie. Beetlejuice movie was the highlight of that so far. It was the highlight of the day. It was a freaking killer movie. I like it. If you haven't seen it yet, you totally should. Whatever. So we did that. Came back. Molly Hatchet was finishing up, and it's like, who the hell's Molly Hatchet anymore? They haven't been relevant ever. Flirting with Disaster is like the only song anybody knows. The next band was Steven Adler, his group, and I just gotta say, it was not good. Like, and I'm not trying to be mean because, like, I know these guys are old and they're just trying to get out there and play and, you know, play for their fans, and I'm not dogging it, but, like, man, it was not good. Their singer was trying way too hard to be Axl Rose. The guitar players were pretty good, but, like, how could you not be when you're just literally only playing Guns N' Roses songs? That was all they played the whole night, and he's like trying his best to dance and wiggle around like Axl Rose, and it was just weird. And I feel bad for Steven Adler because he's old, and you know he's did all those drugs and stuff, and he's not in the best of health, and you know the guy can barely pick his sticks up. He's like really hardly hitting the drums, and it was kind of sad. I mean, the songs were good; they did them okay, but it was like, man, it was just as good as maybe like a local cover band, you know, and I was really bummed out. At least they did it, you know, at least they were up there. Then Ace Frehley's team starts setting everything up. They got his picture up there on the big lights. And my brother and I are standing there by the fence line, and because it was all outside. And from the shadows over here, I see Ace Frehley walking up, and then he kind of standing in this little kind of crevice area, kind of right off the stage where nobody could see him, but I could see him. My brother and I are staring over there, and we're like waving, and he has his arm up like this, you know, kind of looking out, and he gives us like the little finger acknowledgement, and I was like, fucking, you know, amazing. And you have to understand exactly how big of a fan of Ace Frehley and Kiss I am. It's been like a lifelong journey for me up to this point, at least 25 years of just being a kid, playing Kiss, watching and listening to Ace Frehley every day, just how cool he was. Everything was cool. My wife and my brother's girlfriend are walking. They're not even paying attention. They're not even trying to find Ace Frehley. Like, figure that one out, right? My brother and I are like, oh my God, there's Ace. And they look up, and then Ace points at him, gives him a little thumbs up. And I was like, oh my God, so cool. He comes out, opens with Shock Me. Great song. One of my favorites. And honestly, they sounded pretty good. I've seen some videos online. They did not sound good. Or I should say Ace didn't sound good. The rest of the band sounded good. But, you know, they kind of had Ace turned down a little bit, which was probably smart. Like, let the other people, like, take on most of the sound, and then Ace just kind of is there. And that was cool. Played Shock Me, Deuce, a bunch of Kiss songs. They played Rock Soldiers, which was cool. Rocket Ride, Shout It Out Loud, Detroit Rock City, and of course ended with RockNRoll All Night. Everybody knows that song. Everybody knew it was happening, and everybody hates it but loves it at the same time. Whatever. I bail on that song, and I go back to the merch booth, and there's already people that were like with the meet and greet already there waiting. So I get there. Emmy recognizes me. And she's like, oh, hey, here's the guitar strap, which is behind me. You can kind of see it there with the lightning bolt. It's super sick. Here's the guitar strap. You're going last because you got the biggest, you know, package. What's up? And she's like, you got the biggest thing, so you're going last. These guys will go first. I'm like, okay, cool. And it's freezing out now. Like, we didn't really prepare for it to be cold because I guess we should have, but we didn't. They walk us all back to behind the stage. We're kind of walking, and we get to that point, and there's Ace's door, and we're all just standing there. And actually, they let us go in one at a time, which was kind of cool. I thought it would be like we're all standing in the room awkwardly together, and you know, because I've had that before. And then we're standing there in line, and it's my brother and I and my wife, because it was like a +2 kind of thing if I paid for it. This one guy turns around, he goes, "So you got the guitar, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Man, you know, I went to my car and I was going to get my wallet. I didn't want to bring it in, but I went to go get it so I could buy the guitar. And I came back and it was gone, man. You beat me by like 10 minutes. And I was like, no, I beat you by like 8 months, dude. I bought this back in January. They weren't supposed to have it up. They weren't even supposed to have it on display. And then he's like, oh, that's crazy. And he's like, that would have been weird, huh? We would have had to fight in the parking lot. And without hesitation, I went, and you would have lost. End of story. You would have lost, bro. Like, I'm $5,000 deep into this investment, and I like Ace Frehley more than you. Sorry, I just do. We'll fight in the parking lot, and you'll lose. Done. Don't even, right? And I said that to him, not that part, but I was just like, and you would have lost. And he was like, yeah, that probably wouldn't have worked out for me. And I was like, fucking goddamn right. Anyway, they all go in. We finally go inside, and it was finally warm, which was nice. And then we come around the corner, and there's Ace, and he's just like talking on the phone, which is hilarious. I see my guitar over there. It's painted, good to go. Take a photo of it. It looks sick. And then he's, you know, Ace is such a asshole sometimes, you know, like I love it because it's just kind of part of his personality, but he's just like, next, who's next? Hurry up, let's go, let's go. So I go over there and I've got the guitar and I'm like, dude, this guitar looks sick. And he goes, yup, it's pretty cool. And then I sit down and I'm trying to figure out like how to position it, you know, because they want to take a photo with him with the guitar. And he's like, are you going to keep moving the guitar and putting it in my face? And I was like, I'm totally not meaning to. And I'm like panicking, you know. And he's just like, so he just like grabs it and he's like, all right, we'll put it here. And I was like, okay, so we got a cool little photo. He kind of just looks like he doesn't care because I'm sure he doesn't. You know, he's like, oh, great, another guy that I inspired to play guitar. Get the hell out of here. And then they were like, oh, he wants you to sign his arm. And he's like, what? What? Like an old grumpy guy. What? And then he's like, all right, well, do you have a Sharpie? And I was like, no, I don't have a Sharpie. Like, I wasn't supposed to bring anything. I didn't know if I was supposed to or not, but I assumed, you know, a lot of places, you know, didn't say this to him, but a lot of places, you know, they're like, don't bring Sharpies. We'll have them back there. Okay, cool. And he's like, well, no, you should have come prepared, huh? And I was like, oh, I feel like he's yelling at me, but he's not. They said that that's just how he is. He's just kind of a dork. And then the whole freaking time he's holding a Sharpie anyway. So he was like ready to go. He just wanted to give me shit, which is cool. And then, he was going to sign my arm. And I was going to get it tattooed. And my brother, he was like, I'm just going to write Ace. And I was like, all right, that's perfect. And then my brother goes, whatever you write on him, he has to get tattooed. And he goes, oh. So he puts a little couple squiggles. And then he writes like an Ace card with an Ace of Hearts, you know. And I was like, oh, God, this tattoo's getting crazier and crazier. My wife sits down next. She's, you know, going to get a photo with him. And she hands him a shirt of mine from my solo album. The Future Isn't What It Used to Be is the album title. You should check it out on Spotify. It's on there. And he picks it up and he's like, the future isn't what it used to be. He's like, ain't that the fucking truth? And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool that he said that about my album. And I was like, that's my solo album. And he just kind of like looked at me like, shut the hell up. I'm working here. And I'm like, oh God, okay. He didn't say that, but that was the vibe I got. I was like, I'll just be quiet. And then he's like, oh, thank you for the shirt. That's so cool. And he just like tosses it into a big pile of crap that people have probably given him. And my brother got to meet him. And at the end of it all, I was like, can I like shake your hand? Like, this is a big deal for me. Like, can I shake your hand? And he's like, I don't shake hands. And I'm like, okay, I understand. Which I actually kind of understand. Because when you're old like that, people like crush your hand. They do it to me all the time. It's like, bro, I'm trying to play guitar here. Quit crushing my hand. But he was like, I'll give you a fist bump. And I was like, oh, sweet, boom. And it was kind of like one of those things where the twins, where they like touch knuckles, you know, I felt the transfer of energy into my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt it. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was amazing. I'm a different person. I arrived a child and I left as a man. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically how I felt. He's just like, okay, am I done? Am I done? And they're like, yep, that's the last one. He goes, great. You guys are cutting into my gambling time. And then he just like walks away. So freaking cool. Got the guitar, we head out, and then on the way home, we stopped by a place that does walk-in tattoos, and then I got the tattoo put on my arm, right here. So these are the squiggles that he put on there, here, and then, you know, Ace here, and then the squiggle on the E, and then he drew the card. It's a little flaky right now, because it's starting to heal up, but man, it's super cool. And then the artist guy was like, I can make this look a little better if you want. And I was like, I don't want you to touch it at all. I want you to do exactly what it actually is on my arm. That's what I want. If you make it any different, I'm going to lose my mind. Because then it's your signature, not Ace's signature. And he was like, okay, cool. Got that tattooed on, headed home, and then it was just like, that was it. Like, I met Ace Frehley and I got the guitar. The guitar is super cool. Like I said, it's kind of a piece of crap. It's like a Les Paul. I think it's like a $200 or $100 guitar, but whatever, I don't care. And it's got a lot of cool writing on it. Obviously, he signs it here. He's got like the rocket ship. He's got Saturn. I think that's Saturn. And then another little spaceship here. Bunch of cool stuff. He smudged it here with his hand, which is funny. Yeah, it doesn't play great. It's not a great guitar. Totally wasn't worth $3,500, but the whole thing was worth $3,500 for me. And it's a cool experience. Got to hang out with my brother and my wife and his girlfriend and my brother's girlfriend and stuff. It was just a fun weekend away, and it's something that I'll have forever. And that's it. Super sick guitar. I mean, the paint is actually really cool. I like his style of art. It's kind of like, you know, I've done every drug known to man and banged like thousands of chicks. Like, that's the kind of like artwork that it is, and I appreciate that. So tell me about your favorite Ace Frehley story if you ever got to meet him or know somebody who did. whether it's a good story, bad story, or whatever, I'd love to hear about it. And hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you in the next video.